You're gonna need a bigger boat. Why so serious?
I am Iron Man.
This is a tasty burger.
Welcome to the InSession Film Podcast.
Welcome to episode 676 for February 24th, 2026, and I'm Jada Duran.
And I'm Brennan Cassidy.
And I'm Megan Kearns.
Do you believe in miracles? Yes. Yes, I do.
We
I'm very
podcast
excited.
for United States of America.
This last weekend, or the last few days really, have been quite the whirlwind. And I just want to jump into this. We do have a really fun top 5 for the back half of the episode that will be very, very different from what I'm about to get into. But I do need to start here because I turned into a 10-year-old kid over the weekend. Now,
I know. It's adorable.
This is a movie podcast and we will talk about film, but I have to begin the show by talking about the Olympics. Now, I am going to tether movies into this, but I have to talk about the Olympics. I have come on this show many times over the years and I've talked about a certain film as my favorite of all time. Megan, are you familiar with my favorite movie of all time? I can't recall if we've talked about this together.
I thought we had.
Maybe we have. My favorite film of all time is Citizen Kane.
We have not talked about this.
I love Megan's reaction.
That is not where I thought it was going.
And the major reason among many reasons of why that film is a classic masterpiece. But what I find so striking about it is that it's a movie about a guy who at the end of his life had everything that you could accumulate as a wealthy person in this country, but none of that mattered to him. All he wanted to do with his last breath is be a 10-year-old kid again. He just wanted to be a kid with his sled. That's it. That's all he ever wanted.
We're
and
not
to
calling
me,
you
that's
Kane.
why
We're not calling
it's
you
this,
Kane this time out.
It's this profound math. Like I live my life daily by the mantra of that film. And I am a 10-year-old kid at heart, 100%. And it's really fun that I got 2 young boys that help bring that out even further with me every single day. Now, over the weekend, the U.S. men's hockey team was in the gold medal game against Canada. And I fell in love with this sport, deeply fell in love with this sport when I was around 8 years old. 2 years later, in 1996, the U.S. men's team won the Hockey World Championships, which was a huge deal at that time because from 1980, the miracle story that many of us know and love, and I'll get back to that here in a second. From 1980 to 1996, the men's international team was hot garbage. Not very good.
When they went to the quote unquote dream team, as they like to call it.
Yeah, it like once NHLers got involved in 1996, things took a turn. Yeah. And it was really fun. The goalie at the time was Mike Richter. His helmet was always really cool to me because it was the Statue of Liberty, and he played for the New York Rangers, so it was very fitting that he was the goalie for Team USA. And he was really good. And it hooked me even further into the sport, especially because at that age, you don't know anything about politics. Politics don't exist in your world when you're 8 years old, when you're 10 years old. You just love your country and you're rooting for these players that exist in your world each and every day. And then a couple of years after that, so we get to 2002, and we get the Olympics back in the United States for the first time, I believe, since 1980.
Yeah.
And coaching that 2002 men's Olympic team is who, Brendan? Do you remember?
No, I don't remember.
I don't know if you remember because this was a while ago.
And
you're a little bit younger than me. Yeah. I would have been probably a sophomore in high school, so you would have been in middle school most likely at this time.
Yeah. I followed soccer. That's all I followed at that age.
Which is fair. The head coach for the 2002 men's Olympics team here in the United States in Salt Lake City was none other than Herb Brooks. The same coach
I forgot
played by Kurt Russell
I forgot it was
in Miracle. The same coach. So the U.S. men's national team, again, outside of 1996, they had struggled 4 years prior in 1998. At that Olympics, they did not do very well. We have to do something different. So they bring back the legendary Herb Brooks. And boy, does he turn the tables, because in 2002, are they competitive? They are very, very competitive. And again, even though I'm a little older now, I'm in high school, I'm still very impressionistic at this point. And I am deeply in love with the game. And I'm playing now at this point as well. I'm in the beginning stages of my goalie phase. So I'm fully hooked. I'm fully in it. I remember sitting in front of the TV with my Team USA jersey at the time, which I played in, which I probably shouldn't have because it was like a $300 jersey even at the time. But I played it in anyway just because I loved it.
Did that. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was glorious. And I remember screaming my head off. That team gets all the way to the gold medal game and they get the first goal. So they're up 1-0. And that is one of the fondest hockey memories I have, was watching them score that first goal. And I think it sticks in my mind because the rest of that game is not memorable if you are from the United States. Canada goes on to win that game 5-1. It was a blowout.
Yeah.
So Canada wins the gold medal there.
Hey, at least we got the first goal.
And we got the first goal. But those games cemented even further, coupled with the fact that the Red Wings had won a couple of Stanley Cups prior to 2002. And then later on that year in 2002, the Red Wings would win the Stanley Cup again with 6 Hall of Famers on that team, a team that literally could not exist today with the salary cap and how it is. So this is me at the height of, I love this game. This is going to be a huge part of my identity going forward. Fast forward, I guess, to 2010. 2006, the men's team doesn't do very well. 2010, different story, because now we have a bunch of young kids in the game for US and for Canada. And again, the US actually beats Canada in the prelims. They get to the gold medal game and they lose in overtime because Sidney Crosby has now entered the chat.
Of course.
And Sidney Crosby, being Sidney Crosby,
Of course, the Penguin himself,
ends up winning the gold medal there for Canada. But at least they're in the conversation.
They're in the conversation. Yeah, that's what matters.
They're in the conversation. So I'm a deep, deep lover of the sport. I have always championed the sport. And I have always loved the Olympics. It's given me my fondest memories. And I think also part of it for me is that it's a niche sport. A lot of people might consider it to be among the quote unquote 4 major sports in the United States, but there are a clear 4th among those 4. But the Olympics gives it a spotlight and people watch it that normally wouldn't.
Yeah.
And which is why it's important that NHL players are there.
Yeah.
Now, circling it back, I guess, to this last weekend. So, from 2010, you got to 2014 and NHLers were there. And then from there, the NHL decided to forego the Olympic Games for 12 years for reasons only God knows. It's a really dumb decision that we don't have to get into right now. But the players fought for this. The players really wanted to come back. So they were at these games. And the other thing to factor in now is that I'm much older. I'm much older. I'm deeply invested in the politics of this country and where it's going. And I think that's why the last couple of days have been extremely bittersweet, because for me, this is a hockey story. It's me becoming a kid again on one hand. And I really want that to be the story, but it's impossible to separate the politics of it, which I'll get to here in a second. But this last Sunday, before the chaos unfolded in the aftermath of it, the gold medal game is on, and you get that opening montage that begins the broadcast, and it is Kurt Russell doing the narration. because of course.
Because
it's
of
Kurt
course
Russell.
it is. Yeah.
Because of
There's
course
a little
it
movie
is.
called Miracle that he was in. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yes. And this is where Miracle kind of becomes a big part of the conversation, the film itself, because that movie comes out when a lot of the players on this current team are really young.
Yeah.
When they are impressionistic, and they've talked about this openly, that they watch that movie, they fall in love with the sport, they start playing, and it grows the game. It was pivotal. You can't even begin to count how influential it was in terms of the sport at that time.
Yeah.
And we get players like Austin Matthews, who's from Scottsdale, Arizona,
Of all places.
in the desert. That's
Yeah.
where he grows up playing hockey. It's unbelievable. I live in South Florida now. It is huge here. Florida owns the state of hockey.
That weirdly makes more sense than Scottsdale, Arizona.
It's just crazy. So it's incredible.
At least you guys have water, which also creates ice. So
yeah, that's like Arizona is literally just a desert. Yes. It's wild. So the game has grown, and these players grew up watching that film, and now they get to write their own history. And again, watching these Olympics, it's the first time the NHL has been there in 12 years. And as soon as that game began, I don't know if I can fully articulate it other than to say I became a 10-year-old kid again. I no longer existed as an adult.
I love when Judy.
It was pure, unfiltered joy. The whole game. And it was a close game. Close-ish. Actually, Canada kind of dominated, but
Sure.
we were in it. It was 1-1 going into the third period. And as a goalie, former goalie,
Not defender.
Like,
are you a defender still? Or are you?
yeah, I play defense now, but I'm a goalie at heart. And to see the U.S. goalie essentially dominate that game was exciting. And then they win in overtime. Team USA wins in overtime. The first time they had won gold since the 1980 Miracle, 46 years later. Not only that,
Weirdly serendipitous.
Incredible. Not only that, but there's this incredible moment afterwards. And for those that are non-hockey fans listening to this, Megan, there was a U.S.-born player that was tragically killed last year. His name was Johnny Gaudreau. He was at his sister's wedding, was riding a bike, struck by a drunk driver, unfortunately killed him and his brother. Horrible, tragic accident. And he would have been on this team. He would have been on this team. He was one of the best players in the league. They bring his jersey out on the ice in the aftermath of it. It does not matter if you're from Canada, from the U.S., from Slovakia.
No, that was a
Japan. It doesn't matter.
Moment.
It was an unbelievable, emotional moment. His parents are there. His wife and his children are there. And two of the members of Team USA, my beloved Dylan Larkin and Verbinski, both Michigan alums, by the way. Shout out to UM, go blue.
Yep.
They go and get his kids, and they bring the kids on the ice. And I heard someone point this out earlier today that I didn't think of, but it was kind of crazy. Like, his kids are young. And so the kids that they bring onto the ice are, I believe, 2 and 3 years old, respectively. And you have these somewhat strangers, but people that have probably been around the house, for a while, because they were all really close. But these kids are taken from their mom and onto the ice into this weird environment. And it would not have been crazy for them to cry or to throw a fit or to be, in discomfort of like, what's going on? Why am I being taken from my mother? But that's not what happened. They're on the ice, calm. In fact, the little girl actually had a smile on her face. She was smiling. It was just incredible poetry, how it played out. And not only that, the 2-year-old that they put on the ice, it was his birthday. It was his birthday. Johnny Gaudreau Jr. It was his second birthday.
JD's such a dad. I love it.
It was like incredibly serendipitous. Like, it's just this phenomenal moment. And there's a reason I'm bringing all of this up. It'll make sense here in a moment. But it's just crazy moment that it amplifies the beauty of Team USA winning gold for the first time in 46 years. You get this great moment with Johnny Gaudreau's kids on the ice. You have that, what is going to be an iconic shot of Jack Hughes, who scored the game-winning goal moments earlier in the game. He took a stick to the face, literally teeth chipped out of it. He lost 3 teeth on that moment.
Yeah, his front tooth. Clear image of him wrapped in the American flag.
Yes, wrapped in the American flag, big smile, teeth boy, missing. What's that?
Is he a Florida boy?
He was born in Orlando.
Okay, that's what it is.
He actually did some of his development in Canada, but also grew up in Michigan simultaneously.
I know he plays for the New Jersey Devils,
yes.
right? Yeah.
Yes, but that's going to be an iconic photo. Draped with the flag, the smile, the missing teeth. I mean, it is the quintessential hockey photo for sure.
That's going to be
unbelievable.
In your background, isn't it? It's going to be in your background in the future. It's going to be Train Dreams.
I'm trying to convince Brandy to print it out and put it on the wall. Yeah, it's unbelievable moment. And again, like, I'm 10 years old. I'm living in the Citizen Kane miracle of it all. And I do really like Miracle as a film overall, and appropriate to what the rest of this show is ultimately going to be, because bringing Megan into this conversation, she just hosted a new Women in Session that dropped earlier this week, where they talked about their favorite live action Disney movies. Guess what Miracle is?
Yes.
It's a live action Disney movie.
We talked about this offline just a few moments ago, JD. I often forget that Miracle is actually a Walt Disney movie.
Yes. And it has a bit of that Walt Disney magic, but because the story is a Walt Disney magic kind of story.
Is a real life Disney story.
Yes. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. It's crazy. I know we've talked about this before. A lot of people know it, generally speaking, but again, for the non-sports people out there, I cannot begin to emphasize enough how much of an upset that 1980 victory was.
Yeah.
Those kids were 19 years old playing against essentially professionals. And not just professionals from the USSR. Those guys never lost.
Yeah.
They never lost.
That was 4 golds in a row, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
and
it was because that was 76, 72, and the 8 years before that.
And not only that, like a month before, the USSR played the NHL All-Stars. The NHL All-Stars, and they beat the shit out of them.
Yeah.
It was like 7-3 or something crazy. Mm-hmm. Like dismantled the NHL All-Stars.
Yeah.
And now you have 19-year-olds asking to go beat that team. I mean, just insane story. So, I mean, it's certainly a storybook kind of Disney. You can't script it any better than that kind of thing. So no wonder they turn it into a movie. And it's a really fun movie. Kurt Russell's great. We all love it. It's influential, as I noted. And so Sunday, I could not be on a bigger high. I never really got outside of that 10-year-old shell.
You were just reliving the vibe of Miracle all over again, just in a very different landscape.
I was my oldest is 10 years old, and he might have been older than me on Sunday. I was a kid.
When this same thing happens in another 46 years, your son will be having his own moment like that when he becomes a dad.
And also a fun little fact about the game and how it ties to the film Miracle. And people have been pointing this out on social media, which is really incredible. So there's a moment early on in that film in Miracle where they're going through the tryouts, and one of the names they cross off the list that did not make the squad, his name was Jack Hughes.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit serendipitous, given that in 2026, Jack Hughes is not only on the team, but he scores the game-winning goal in the gold medal game. But here's a little fun fact about that: the Jack Hughes that did not make that 1980 team, he actually played in the NHL. And as I noted, it had been 46 years since they won the gold medal. Brendan, how many games do you think Jack Hughes played in the NHL? The older Jack Hughes.
Oh, I'm going to guess what, 2?
46.
I knew it was more than that.
like you can't make that shit up. Like, that's just the beauty of sports. Like, that is unreal. Like, that is unbelievable how life works. But I guess maybe that's a good transition to where I was going to go next, because I can't talk about the glory of what happened on Sunday without the severe disappointment of what followed, because Sunday night and into Monday and now Tuesday, what a lot of those players have demonstrated has been nothing short of major disappointment. Mm-hmm. And I guess I don't want to get into it too much, because this is not we've already talked enough about sports.
Yeah.
We're not a political show either, but
I feel like that's the more dangerous rabbit hole we can find ourselves down. But at the same time, you make a great point.
But I can't just completely disregard it, because there's been things that have been happening with that team and our current administration that you can't separate.
Sure.
And it's just been incredibly disappointing to see the behavior of some of those guys. And it's especially disheartening because I know some of them very much love our women's team and very much support them. But our current administration has been saying some, I don't even know how to say it in a nice way, but some pretty demeaning things about the women's team that some of these guys have just laughed at. And then they show up at the White House, and it's been disheartening.
It's unfortunate that you, as a major hockey fan like this, have to relish in this glory of this victory, and then you have to course correct yourself to make sure that those of our listeners listening know the full context of what you're getting at then afterwards. Like the whole postscript with this is just so unfortunate. It's so unfortunate that you have to add this little epilogue to this great story.
Yeah. I mean, and when you're talking about international competition, there's always a level of politics at play. And we've seen this constantly throughout history. I mean, the USSR almost didn't even show up to Lake Placid in 1980 because 4 years prior, when the games were in Russia, we didn't go. The United States weren't there for political reasons. And it almost happened again in 1980, but then they showed up, and what happened. Yeah. So politics are always going to be part of it. I think what's really disappointing about what's happening now is that they're simply taking this game and using it as a pawn for their own political, maneuverings. I don't think anyone is, disillusioned to the fact that the current administration doesn't really give a shit about hockey. They don't. They're using that as some sort of tool for their own gain. And it's clear as day, it is what it is.
And you're at a point now where it's like, whatever we can get to actually popularize the sport just a little bit more, but this could have an adverse effect on it for certain audiences.
Well, and that's been a lot of what I've seen in the discourse, is that it's like they built up all this goodwill from Sunday, winning the gold medal, beating Canada for the first time in God knows how many years, winning the gold medal for the first time in 46 years. And then in a day, all of that evaporated. Like all that goodwill completely gone, at least for half the country.
Yeah.
And it's not great. Not great. And it's been real sad for me. I went from real highs to extremely low lows.
What a tragic ending.
Yeah. So, it is like, and I'm doing my best to separate them, in the same sense that some of the best movies ever made are, were directed by the worst humans to walk on this planet. It's a little bit of that, where it's like the on ice product could not have been more satisfying. And that's the part that I gravitate toward, is the on ice product. But I live in the real world, and I'm a human being, and I see what they're doing. And I also I can't support that either.
Yeah.
So it's
You can have it both ways. It's
a swing of the
like
pendulum for sure.
we as movie fans can sit here and say Rosemary's Baby is a great movie, but the man who made it, different conversation.
Not great, Bob. You know, and again, that's why I go back to like the game itself was great. The Johnny Gaudreau stuff was incredible. That's why I bring that up, because what happened on the ice, it was pure poetry. It was unbelievable. Like it could not be scripted. And then to see that stuff evaporate because of the aftermath of what they've done.
Because of that aftermath, I wonder if a documentary is going to be made about that moment.
Maybe. I'm
and
sure
then
there will be,
eventually
but
the evil twin spiritual sequel to Miracle will come out.
and I don't know. I wouldn't know how to feel about that. Would not know how to feel about that. Anyway, all that to say, Miracle is a really good movie. I do enjoy it quite a bit. It meant a lot to me in my childhood. I had a great time with the hockey product of it on Sunday with the gold medal game. I mean, one of my favorite sporting moments of maybe my whole lifetime, to be honest. I screamed so loudly, I'm terrifying the kids, because it's like a visceral, guttural reaction that you have in the moment, and it's why we love sports.
Yeah, and Miracle captures that. As a movie, it captures that feeling and that vibe. And I think that's why it's a great sports movie, and that's why it's a great hockey movie. I think it captures the vibe and the feeling of the sport very well, even if it might not be the most accurate depiction of the sport in movies.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, and you've argued this as well, JD, and I do agree. Inside Out 2 is a more accurate depiction of hockey than Miracle is. But Miracle captures the feeling. It captures the feeling of that sport in a way, kind of like how a movie like Ephes captures the feeling of baseball. In a way, Miracle, it's not as inaccessible as that movie is, but it kind of has that same kind of agenda in some ways.
It certainly gets the moment right for sure. Even if some of the hockey is manufactured, it gets the moment right. And I do really appreciate it on that scale for sure. I wish that I could live in that Citizen Kane innocence all the time. And maybe that's why that film just continues to be more and more profound to me. But
everyone has their Rosebud.
Everyone does. But at the same time, I can't just exist in the world and turn a blind eye to what's happening.
Yeah.
And again, this will be my last thought on it as well, because I've seen, there's been a lot of discourse out there as far as, how to engage with some of this stuff. And look, I will just say this. I am not a fan of the current administration. And while it's extremely challenging to showcase national pride at a time like this, and I understand why some people just flat out didn't engage with the Olympics at all as a result of it. That's perfectly fair. Totally understandable. Wouldn't blame anyone for that. But I think it's why, again, circling it back to film and I guess TV in a sense, because I think a lot about The Lord of the Rings right now, or the show Andor, for example. And some of the speeches that we see in those films or in Andor, they're extremely resonant right now, because so much of it is built on hope and fighting for things that you love and believe in. And I think a lot of us in this country, we hate what's going on right now, but we feel a certain way because fundamentally there actually is a lot to love about this space and this country that we live in, if it was run by the right people and we were doing it the right way.
Sure.
And unfortunately, that's just not happening right now. But a lot of people are wanting to fight for that, and it is worth fighting for. And I think that's why there is such a huge divide, and there's a lot of passion and a lot of vitriol as a result of that. And I think that's why I feel, just personally, while I feel this huge tug from what happened this last weekend. Because I do want to fight against what I saw in the aftermath of the gold medal game. I don't agree with a lot of what happened.
And you hate to be part of that tug of war when you had it, when it was such a celebratory moment for you just one day earlier.
Yeah. And I'm just one person. I don't know, like, I'm not going to be able to foster any change necessarily, but anything that I can do to help that, and certainly when it comes to the polls, that's what I'll be doing.
And watch this episode take off. All of a sudden, we have 50 million subscribers that are listening to your words right now.
That'd be nice. Anyway, like, again, we don't have to get too political here, but again, it was a very political last few days, and it very much ties to film, and it ties to a sport that I love deeply. And I mean, and even when it comes to film, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of politics that we're going to be talking about over the next few months, given some of the recent updates with Warner Brothers and Paramount and all that sort of stuff.
Oh,
and
let
Netflix.
me gag. Let me gag right now.
Yeah, and look, we're not getting into any of that right now, but we live in a political space, in a political world.
All film is political in some way.
Yes,
whether
Thank
all
you.
film is political.
Thank you.
100%.
Hey,
So
a movie like American Pie is political.
Absolutely. Every film is political. Even
Yeah.
a film that is, quote, apolitical, still
Yeah.
making a political statement.
Exactly.
100%.
You hear that,
I-
Alex Garland?
Ding, ding,
Yes.
ding. That's right. Film vendors, everybody, film is political.
Yeah.
I just
Yes.
have to say, because JD brought up Lord of the Rings, and
Yeah.
I love Lord of the Rings, and I went and saw the release of the extended editions in theaters.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I hadn't seen these I've never actually seen these in the theater because they haven't shown the fully extended releases in the theater. But I hadn't seen the original cuts in the theaters since they were released back in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And it was a shattering experience
Monumental.
considering everything that is going on politically and how horrific everything is.
Mhm.
I was a sobbing mess. I was even more struck by how beautiful and incredible these films are, and just what a beacon of light and hope they are in
Yeah.
the face of, oppression and
Yep.
fascism. And it was incredible. It gave me a whole new appreciation for those films. So I'm so delighted
100%.
that you mentioned that.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And I recently, last month in January, I watched that trilogy and felt inspired once again. And I haven't seen Andor since it came out, but I've seen a lot
Love it.
of it all over TikTok, for very similar reasons. People are leaning into that art to inspire and to maintain hope in the face of that oppression and fascism. And so it's very much top of mind for sure. 100%.
It's kind of loving, but also kind of hilarious at the same time that we have to look to movies like this as our form of motivational speeches and not from politicians anymore. It's like this is where we get our juice from Aragorn.
That's right.
Exactly.
Thank you, Art. You know what's so wild about that too is that Tony Gilroy very recently said, he talked about Andor and talked about how there were a lot of things that he couldn't do, that there were things that had to be kind of tamped down, but also everything that's in Andor obviously has come before. There's not anything revelatory, and he's like, we just basically took the fascism playbook throughout history and just put it all in there. And it's and he was talking about how so many people have called the show prescient. And he's like, I guess if you're looking at history, because history continually repeats itself. But
exactly. Yeah. I heard that as well. And it was really funny in a way to hear him talk about it, because he's like, I just used the playbook, which clearly the current administration is also taking from. So like,
if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, it's like the same lesson that Indiana Jones always taught us. Nazis always make good villains.
That continues to be the case for sure. At any rate, it's, we live here. It's worth fighting for. I see and understand why a lot of people are fighting that good fight, and it's great to see. And I think that's what I love about this country, even though I don't love the administration. So at any rate, Miracle.
Miracle,
we can
good
move
movie.
on from that.
Good movie.
Thanks for putting up with me. As I talked about these last few days, it's been a wildfire.
Disney made good live action movies before.
Yeah. Speaking of Disney live action movies, we're going to continue that trend as we move on here. Before we get to our top 5, we have to talk about Gore Verbinski. So a couple of weeks ago here on the show, we did a consensus ranking between Brendan and I, and that was before his new film came out.
Yes.
Also, since we did a review of his latest film, Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die, you can go and check out that review if you want. It's available right now in the feed. We want to update that ranking, but also we wanted to talk about that Pirates trilogy one more time because we've both seen that trilogy since we had that conversation, and there's an addendum to that as well.
Maybe
that we wanted to bring up.
Before we do, I'm trying to see if I have our original consensus ranking on Gore Verbinski's films. I have to see if I can pull this up because I think we need to reference that in case any changes end up being made.
Yes. That we should have. I honestly assumed that you had it.
I have it somewhere. I
assumed.
I may have deleted it actually.
Oops.
But I think I think I
Okay.
recall. I think I recall it offhand. I believe it was. So we had 10 films at the time because that was prior to us seeing Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die, which now makes 11 films for him. If I'm not mistaken, if I can remember this, our consensus ranking was from worst to best: The Weatherman, The Mexican, The Lone Ranger, The Ring, A Cure for No. Dead Man's Chest, then A Cure for Wellness, Mouse Hunt, Rango, At World's End, and then top of the list was The Curse of the Black Pearl.
I think that is correct. Yes.
I think that's right.
I'm 99% sure that is correct.
Because I remember we talked about originally having Mouse Hunt above Rango, but then we decided to give the edge to Rango because it just felt more Gore Verbinski influence, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And he won the Oscar, which is fun.
That's true. That's true. So I think that's what it was. I know we also went back and forth on where to put Dead Man's Chest, but I think we ended up putting that at 6 out of the 10.
Yes, I agree. Now, before we get to Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die, Megan, I'm curious what you think of that ranking that we came up with. Do you have any thoughts?
Curse of the Black Pearl, you had it number 1, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I would agree with that. I would have The Ring at number 2.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah, I think The Ring is exceptional. I would everything. I would probably have A Cure for Wellness after that, 3.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, I really like A Cure for Wellness.
Yeah.
I think it's
I
got
like
a
it.
really unnerving and disturbing atmosphere that I really appreciate. And I think it's such an underrated film too.
How did that get greenlit? I still don't understand.
I don't know.
It's wild. It makes no sense. Yeah. And then I guess the rest of the Pirates films, and then the rest of his films I have not seen. So
okay.
Oh wait, I've seen The Weatherman. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Of the Pirates sequels specifically, Dead Man's Chest and At World's End, which one do you think you prefer between the two? Not to put you on the spot.
No, that's fine. Honestly, I barely remember either of them. I don't find them super memorable.
Okay, this is gonna be a fun conversation.
Yeah.
I know. Especially,
I was just about to say,
At World's End.
I think we need to do a live stream of watching those movies with Megan. That's what we need to do.
When was the last time you've seen them, Megan?
I mean, good 10 years at least.
Okay.
Here's the excuse.
I'm not
We're gonna force you to watch.
But I hate Johnny Depp so much. It would be torturous, but I would do it.
Well, okay. Well, I'll say two things about that. First, I'm not saying that you're going to have a different opinion or a change of heart watching them again because
I might. Yeah,
you might. I would just say if you are going to watch them again, watch them in the current landscape of what modern blockbusters look and feel like nowadays, and remember that those two movies came out in the mid 2000s. I think that's a huge perspective to bring to it. And secondly, regarding the Johnny Depp of it all, those two movies also understood that the main characters of those movies were really Will Turner and Elizabeth Swann.
That's very fair. Yeah, that's very fair. And I do love Keira Knightley. So
and she's great in it.
Absolutely. Okay, so with that said, then Brendan, where do we put in Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die?
I think squarely in the middle.
Okay.
I would say so. We had A Cure for Wellness at number 5 collectively. We had Dead Man's Chest at number 6. I think at 7 we had The Ring. I'm okay putting it around 7 or 8.
Okay.
It's certainly better than The Lone Ranger and Weatherman and the Mexican.
Yes, I would agree with that for sure. I don't, looking at some of these other ones, I mean, I might be a little bit higher on it than you are. I do really like it a lot, but
I do too.
I don't think
Gore's one of my guys.
Yeah, but I don't think I could put it above any of the other ones. At least
well, that just shows he's good at his job. That's I think that's why I suggested 7. I think we have The Ring at 7 currently, and I do think The Ring has such high highs. To Megan's point earlier, there are sequences in that movie that still haunt me to this day. We may even highlight them when we get to the top 5 later on in this episode, or at least mention them during honorable mentions. But I like the full package of Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die a little bit more than The Ring. I just think The Ring has higher highs that have like seared themselves into the horror zeitgeist. That I'm torn between those two.
Yeah, I mean that's certainly about where I do feel about Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. It's in that range for sure. And I really like The Ring a lot. I think for me it's less about that film being at number 7 or number 8 as much as I just really love the films above it. So it's really more about that. But yeah, Gore's just one of my guys. I really like all of these films, most of these films to one degree or another. They're all weird, ambitious. I want more Gore in my life for sure. I hope it's not another 8 years in between movies. Before we get to the top 5, though, we do have to talk about Pirates. Not just because of the gore of it all, but also again to tie it to our latest Women in Session episode, where again they talked about live action Disney films. I honestly, it's such lightning in a bottle. I don't know if Disney could ever replicate what they did with the Pirates movies. Obviously, they've tried since then to replicate the formula. They just can't. Can't do it.
What do you mean tried? Those that 4th and 5th movie felt like course corrections for what they thought went wrong with the second and third movie.
And I don't even just mean with Pirates, but like other theme attractions that they've tried to turn into movies.
Oh yeah, they did the Haunted Mansion twice.
Yeah.
Jungle Cruise. Yeah. So like it's been nothing but failure after failure post Gore Verbinski. But I'll just say this, which is why I'm going to be curious, Megan, to hear what your thoughts would be on a rewatch. And even 2 weeks ago, when we were on here talking about Gore Verbinski, I had noted, I do think that this is one of the best trilogies, period, of the last 30 years. And after seeing these films again in the last week, I only believe that 10 times stronger. In fact, I think that first film is a full-on masterpiece. As far as blockbuster spectacle goes, I don't think it gets a whole lot better. Maybe where I'm against the grain a little bit, and again, I teased this even a couple of weeks ago, and given what I've seen regarding this film on social media, I don't know if this is a hot take. It might not be. We might be preaching to the choir here.
I think this one in particular is getting reevaluated now.
It is very much getting reevaluated because I think At World's End is just as good as The Curse of the Black Pearl, if not better. What Gore Verbinski and Hans Zimmer do with that film is nothing short of magical. It is unbelievable how good that movie is. And a lot of it is certainly Gore Verbinski doing Gore Verbinski things. And it's everything that we talked about already. The film opens with a child hanging by the noose. I mean, good Lord. You know, the Davy Jones locker sequence is incredible. The up is down sequence is remarkable. We get a crystallization of the best romance in cinema and an unforgettable wedding. I mean, it's just the best.
Now's the best time.
It's just so good. You know, and then you get one of the best villain deaths of any blockbuster ever made. And I cannot, Brennan, I cannot stop listening to that soundtrack. I have listened to Hans Zimmer's score to that film specifically at least a dozen times over the last few weeks. I just cannot get enough of it. I mean, those main pirate cues are already really great, but the new cues he brings to that film are just simply some of the best that he's ever done.
It's that one specifically because he doesn't bring many new cues to Dead Man's Chest, if I'm not mistaken.
No. He really doesn't.
That's very much a bridge movie, aesthetically speaking and musically speaking more specifically. Yes. But At World's End feels like an artistic culmination of what they were trying to go for as a wrap-up for this.
Well, and that's one of the biggest takeaways I had from this rewatch is that the music from Zimmer in Dead Man's Chest, while it's good, it does feel like he's trying to limit himself a little bit because he doesn't want to just full on use that main pirate theme that was used heavily in Curse of the Black Pearl. He doesn't just want to utilize it all the time.
And it's
so
like
he pulls
he's
the reins
saving
a lot.
Yeah, and he's saving his strengths for when it matters in the third film.
Yeah, exactly. Which might have been purposeful, either that or like he just felt so creatively inspired of like, I can't just regurgitate the first two films. I have to think of something else. And so then we get tracks like Up is Down, which is just a full-on banger. Incredible track. And then there's the love theme that I've raved about incessantly over the last year and a half. And, you know, that's, you know, I actually did read something that, you know, because I've hailed it as the love theme because it's so complementary to the romance of that movie. But Hans Zimmer just simply calls that the main theme of At World's End. And on a rewatch, I think he's absolutely right because that cue plays constantly throughout that film.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a stunner of a track. Like when that violin kicks in, it just, it gives me a guttural, visceral response. Like I absolutely love it. It's top 5 Hans Zimmer track, hands down.
Rewatching these movies over the weekend, I was of course rewatching them with my wife, who has seen them before, and she's always enjoyed them. But she always likes to watch movies with me with the perspective I try to bring. She tries to match my critic-like perspective and think like, what's he taking from this? And funny enough, you know what her least favorite of the 3 was? Curse of the Black Pearl. Ooh. And it's because she was latching on to the weirdness of the second and third movie. She was latching on to like, why is Disney afraid to take these types of risks? Like she was like the things that we've talked about on the show before, GD, like in Dead Man's Chest specifically, how I called out when the well wheel stunt scene and how great that is. And then there's a moment where the camera literally spins with it.
Yeah.
Like I'm sitting here with my wife and she calls that great shot out even before I had a chance to do it.
Yeah.
And it's those little things like that, which is what she was latching onto. And I found that so sweet and so adorable. And in a way, it made me appreciate the films even more watching it with that kind of more innocent lens next to me.
Yeah. Gore's doing some really inspired stuff with the camera in those movies. The editing, I think, is underrated as well. It's good stuff. I mean, that Gore was cooking with both of those films for sure.
I'm ready to say At World's End is my favorite of the 3.
I think so as well. Yeah. I mean, we can debate which one is better. Like I have both of them as 5 stars on Letterboxd. I guess people can debate that all day, but At World's End is my favorite of the 3 for sure. And again, I might even argue it is the best of the 3.
It's actually very elaborate. Like you really sit back and think about the messiness of that script. You could still tie character motivations together and how they make sense. It's I heard someone describe it as like a full season of Game of Thrones condensed into a 3-hour movie. It's like That's actually pretty apt. Like I
Yeah.
kind of get that.
Yeah.
But like there's a lot about it that I think does make sense.
I think so as well. And again, because I watch these essentially back to back to back, and it almost flows like one 9-hour movie.
It's kind
Like
of Lord of
they're-
the Rings like in that way.
It is very Lord of the Rings like in that way, especially 2 and 3. 2 and 3 are, I mean, those films essentially are just, it's just one long movie.
It's doing what many trilogies did at that time, where like The Matrix, for instance, where they turned it into a trilogy by essentially making a 2-part conclusion, right? Same with Back to the Future. Many movie trilogies did that. But I feel like the Pirates trilogy was the most successful at doing that.
I agree.
Even though Dead Man's Chest and At World's End do feel like a 2-parter of sorts, they still each, I feel like, have their own kind of thematic idea, their own thematic ethos, which is what makes it similar to something like Lord of the Rings. As much as that is basically one long 15-hour movie, each act, if you will, kind of has its own thematic idea that centers it. So they still have an individuality to them. And I think the Pirates movies have the same thing.
I agree. They're incredibly well made, incredibly well cast. The characters are just a ton of fun. Brendan, I cannot begin to I wish you would have been next to me when Sam and I are watching Dead Man's Chest. And I've seen this film 100 times by this point, it feels like. And when Barbosa walks down those steps, it says, "So what's become of my..." I literally stood up and cheered. Like I had tears streaming down my face. Like I can't get enough of it. Like it is so good.
I assume Sam likes those movies.
Oh yeah, he had a ball. Yeah.
Does he have a favorite of the 3, or does he just like them all?
I think he really likes them all. I think he liked Dead Man's Chest the most.
I get that, because
really
that
ask him though, so I don't know.
Of the 3, that is the closest to feeling kind of like a Looney Tunes cartoon in a way.
Yeah,
like it's
I think
the
maybe that's why
it's the most
he
set
gravitated toward.
piecey of the 3.
Yeah.
And I can see that being, attainable for a younger mind. So I assume it would be that one.
Yeah, and it is a really good movie. Like it's number 3 for me of the 3, but it's still a ton of fun. The spectacle is incredible, and again, maybe the best cameo of all time. Like I literally applauded. I was like, 20 years later, that shit still hits like crack. It's unbelievable. It's so
man, it was doing the Marvel thing before the Marvel thing was even a Marvel thing.
Yeah, exactly. Take that, Samuel L. Jackson. Barbosa did it first.
Barbosa is my Nick Fury.
God.
There's a t-shirt for you.
Yeah. That'll be the next one, yeah. All right, Brennan, let's talk about coffee. I love coffee. You love coffee.
Adult medicine.
We all need
we love
it.
We require it.
Exactly. And what's great about Coffee Cult is that they are all about high quality. That's what this is about. This is about high quality coffee. If you want cheap, lower grade coffee, you can go to your local grocery store. They will have that. That coffee was roasted 6 months to a year previously. It's been sitting on shelves for a long time. Yeah. And look, it might be a little bit cheaper, but you're going to get lower quality. And that's fine. If that's what you want,
if that's your thing,
fine.
Save a little money. But, those of us that actually care for the taste and the artistic craftsmanship of coffee, that goes a long way for people like us.
It goes a long way. That's what makes Coffee Cult great, is because they are sourcing, working directly with the farms. They have relationships with the farms directly, and they are sourcing high-end specialty grade coffee.
That's right.
We're talking about honey processed coffees from Costa Rica, or high-end coffees from Ethiopia, from Brazil, Colombia. Yep. They are sourcing the best coffee from around the globe, crafting it, roasting it in a specific way, with no defects in the coffee. They go out of their way to ensure. And that might jack up the price a little bit, but you're you're drinking high end. Literally, it's the best coffee that you can buy. Very literally.
No defects. Each bean is carefully inspected to make sure it's up to snuff, and it's ethically sourced as well. As you mentioned, they have great
100%.
working relationships with the farms, but also making sure that these farms are paid equally, especially women. Also very important.
It's great. And the other thing too that I don't know if I say enough is that it is this year's crop. That's another thing. Sometimes when you're buying lower end coffee, not only was it roasted 6 months ago, that could have been last year's crop, the year before. Who knows how long that coffee has just been sitting in some warehouse. With Coffee Cult, they're getting this year's crop of coffee, roasting it as the order comes in. So it is super fresh. You're talking about high-end coffee that is super fresh. You just can't get that anywhere else.
Right.
That's what we love about them. So go to coffeecult.com. That's coffee with a K, call with a K. Coffeecult.com. At checkout, use our code ISF26, ISF26. That'll get you 15% off. So look, we're here to save you a little bit of money in the process. So get 15% off with that code. I promise you can taste the difference. I promise you. It is incredible. You're going to love it. And we thank Coffee Cult for their support. All right, Brendan, I love swag and I love t-shirts. I love buying t-shirts. And the great thing is when you buy t-shirts from our store, you're helping us directly. Every cent that we get from anyone buying our merch, it goes into making sure that we can do this each and every week. And if you go to our official merch site, there are actually a couple of ways to do this. You can go directly to the website, InSessionFilm.com/store. There you'll see all of our t-shirts and the different designs that you can get. I actually just updated that page, so it's fresh. It has everything there.
A little cleaner.
But you can also go directly to InSessionFilm.dashery.com.
Yep.
It's our official merch store. It's all run through TeePublic. And what's great there, you can see we have new designs that are based off of our logo. We got a One Battle After Another design. We got a Memento Mori 28 years later design up there. We got Sinners. We got the Wild Robot. I'm wearing one right now that is based off of Lester Bangs in a movie that we all know and love.
Best film of the year 2000.
Absolutely. A ton of different stuff. Chasing the Gold, Women in Session, all of that is there. We got a bunch of different designs. Again, InSessionFilm.dashery.com. Go and check it out. And also these designs, we promote the t-shirts a lot because I think that's what most people would be interested in. Yeah. But they also have mugs, stickers. And in fact, recently we had someone, I'm trying to remember which design it was, but they got stickers. It might have been
that's nice.
The One Battle After Another, I think. They got that design in stickers, which I thought was interesting.
That's really clever. Yeah, it's a very clever thing to do. We should start really pushing stickers on those. People put them on their
might have to.
all the time.
I might have to get a bunch of stickers as well. So you can get it in a bunch of different items. That's the great thing about TeePublic. It's not just t-shirts, even if most people go there for the t-shirts. Either way, there's a bunch of different items available. But go check it out. Again, it all helps this show go. And if you have a design that you're interested in, whether it's about the show or about a different movie that you're interested in, we would love to mock something up for you. Always hit us up. We would for sure would be interested. So, let us know. Again, InSessionFilm.com/store or InSessionFilm.dashery.com. And this week, as this episode is released, I think TeePublic is running a sale. So by the time this episode goes up, hurry up and head on over there. You might be able to catch the ending of that sale. But yeah, go and check it out. And we thank you for your support. Okay, with all of that said, let's go ahead and transition to our top 5 yet, which I don't even think that I stated. I got right into hockey and the Olympics and politics and disappointment because we're all over the map on this show. Then we talk about Verbinski and Pirates. It's just a buffet of topics, I guess. But we are here because Scream 7 is coming out this weekend.
Ugh.
A lot of people are excited, seemingly.
I'm nervous.
I did see, all joking aside, that it is tracking to have a $60 million plus opening. So it's seemingly tracking well. People are still interested in seeing these movies at the box office.
That's cool. That's cool. I hope.
Good for them.
I hope I like it.
Yeah, we'll see. Megan, any quick thoughts on the Scream franchise? What say you?
I love Wes Craven. I love the Scream franchise. I will not be watching this movie because of what
Fair
they
enough.
did to Melissa Barrera.
Okay.
Yep. And we're pretty much there with you,
Yeah.
Megan.
They did her dirty. It was awful. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of a shame. Like, I don't want to get too down a rabbit hole, but like even just for artistic reasons about what they were doing with the Sam character, like I found it like Scream 6, I actually found it really fascinating where they were going with her.
Yeah. I liked Scream 6. I mean, it has its problems, as does Scream 5, but I liked both of them.
Yeah. I didn't care for Scream 5 personally, but I really like Scream 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the premise for 7 just does not compel me all that much. So it is what it is. They pivoted in a direction that I am not all that.
Honestly, the thing that worries me the most is who's directing it. I mean, I get bringing back the original writer to work on this movie is not a bad idea, but as far as I've checked, he's not a director, and now he's directing this movie. Like that's the thing that worries me, Kevin Williamson.
Yeah. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
But using that as inspiration, we are here to talk about our top 5 kills in horror movies. So we're going to get deadly, a bit gory, and
there's
we're
the
talk
tie-in.
about some
Not Gore
violence.
Verbinski, but a little gory nonetheless.
Exactly. Who knows? Maybe Verbinski will show up here. He's done a couple of horror films.
Yeah.
Definitely qualifies.
Yeah.
We'll see if it makes any of our top 5s. So let's go ahead and jump in. I guess before we do, did you guys have any criteria that you used to define your list? Did you set any parameters at all?
Not really. This one
I did.
Yeah.
Okay, you did. I'm curious what you had
Megan
there, Megan.
I did, because this list became a behemoth. It was unwieldy.
That's fair.
Yeah, I also, for those who may not know, I also co-host a slashers podcast called The Slashers, and we go through the golden age of slashers, and now we're in season 2 where we're talking about the post-golden age, and one of the things we look at are the best kills, and there's a buffet of incredible kills just in the 80s alone. So for me, I had to go with, because I realized I was also pulling in best deaths, but not necessarily kills. And so I was like, it has to be kills. There has to be an intentionality. I also personally shied away from animal kills.
Okay.
Fair. Yeah.
For my own reasons, just like, and not that animals can't have an intention to kill, but I was like, to me, that's like, there's something different there. So yeah, so they were loose parameters, but yes, I did have parameters.
Okay.
I had to.
I will say this. I do agree with the specificity of how you articulated that, Megan, because it's very easy to go down a rabbit hole and just make this too broad, essentially.
Yes.
And turn this into a list of best horror deaths.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I did the same thing. All of my 5 are, there is maybe an intentionality of a sort to them all. Some of them may have a bit of a gray area that make them kind of fascinating, but they do involve an act of killing in some way.
Yeah. It sounds like my list is similar-ish, but maybe a little bit different.
Okay.
In the sense that the kills themselves, they're like, it came from a very specific angle, and I didn't necessarily set out to do this, but in the course of creating my list, this happened organically. But I guess without giving too much away, there ended up being this thematic angle that showed itself as I was collecting this.
Interesting.
And most of them very much fall into that kill path that you guys are talking about, but there are a few outliers. There's at least one arguably two outliers to that, which
Okay.
we can get into. But they all have a thematic angle to them that are very, very similar. And again,
Ooh.
they didn't set out to do that. It just kind of happened. So we'll talk about that as we go. Okay. With that said, let's jump into this. Megan, what do you have at number 5?
Well, after I just said, laid out my parameters, there may be some who may quibble about my number 5 pick, but I argue there is intentionality, and very much the creator of this intended that as well. So my number 5 pick is Final Destination, and specifically
That's a
the
kill.
airplane. Thank you.
That's a kill. That's a kill.
Death is an unseen character in this franchise.
Of course. It's a force.
Yep.
It's-
So
yeah.
I agree. And so, I know the flashier one to go with, and perhaps the more disturbing one is the highway log truck jam scene. And that's a great one too. But for me, I love the airplane scene. And I think, and I love the Rube Goldberg of it all. Having seen Evil Dead Trap, the Japanese slasher, which also uses Rube Goldberg like an arrow to kill someone in a very elaborate way, I couldn't separate it from those kind of slasher roots. And so I love that. I love the mechanics of it. I love the spectacle of that. I love how terrified the protagonist is, having had that vision and then trying to get everyone to believe him and throughout the entire film. So for me, that is the kickoff of a very interesting and appealing franchise that I think its most recent film is also really watchable and really compelling too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was okay. I actually, I kind of like these movies, but Bloodlines I thought was kind of lesser Final Destination. Honestly. The bigger that those movies go, the more they lose me. I like the first 3. I like when everything felt more tangible before they got kind of big. And I will say, I think Bloodlines is probably the most cleverly written of all of them. And I think that certainly goes a long way. But this is one of those franchises kind of like Saw, I guess, where people just go to see people die and have a lot of fun with that.
There's we could just do a top 5 from these two franchises.
That's true. That's true.
We could. I do think the Final Destination films are way more interesting than the Saw franchise, just generally speaking. And I think the deaths are more clever. Many of my favorite deaths from this franchise come from the third film, Final Destination 3.
Yeah, there are a lot of great deaths in that one.
The tanning bed sequence is probably the one I would go with if I were to pick an honorable mention here. Yeah.
Yeah, a good one. I do want to say this. I should have said this, but I think it goes without saying. There will be major, major spoilers throughout this entire conversation. So just a fair warning. I think that again, that's probably assumed, but just in case, just in case. But I do really like that one. That is the only Final Destination film I have seen. I have not seen that franchise. And I think part of it is because I watched that film. I might have been, I don't even know how old I was, but I watched it. And this was during the phase, and I've talked about this a lot on the show. Yeah. For the longest time, I didn't really engage with horror because I think the technical term is called a scaredy cat. And that's me.
You can find it in the encyclopedia.
Yeah, I think that's the medical term. And so for the longest time I didn't, but I was tricked into seeing this one because
tricked.
Yeah, and because someone was like, "Yeah, you'll like it. It's this airplane movie. You'll enjoy it." That's what was told to me.
That's mean.
Yeah, that's what was told to me. So I watched it and then hid for 90% of the movie and decided I'm not coming back to this ever again. So I have a lot of homework to do. I enjoy horror now, and I'm sure that I would enjoy those movies. I just haven't had the opportunity to, catch up with them yet.
Yeah. I think you'll like Bloodlines. I think out of all of them, you'll be among the consensus who feels like that is the best of them all.
Okay. All right. Well,
I do think
we'll
that one is a great culmination for one specific reason, which I don't want to
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil for you, but yeah,
Okay.
I think it's a series worth watching. But it is interesting what you were saying, Brendan, about how akin to the Saw movies, people go to watch people die. That is the reason I like the first one so much, because I think that Devon Sawa is really good in that.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I'm feeling for him more than perhaps some of the other characters other ones.
The death is not the spectacle.
Right.
Good stuff. All right, Brendan, what do you got at number 5?
All right, my number 5 is a death that absolutely is a spectacle. And it's a movie I don't even like all that much.
Oh,
I kind of have
Deep
fun
Blue
with it.
Sea. Oh, I love it.
That's a good honorable mention of mine, actually.
Yeah,
Of course, we're talking about Samuel L. Jackson's great moment
I
there.
love it.
Almost did make my number 5 for similar reasons for the pick that I actually did go with my number 5. I'm going to the year 2001. A little movie called Jason X.
Okay.
This is one of the Friday the 13th movies. It's the one where Jason goes to space. And
Yeah, as we all predicted, of course.
where else would he go?
Exactly.
there's a particular death. And for those who've seen this movie who are listening right now, you know what death scene I'm going with. It's probably the most iconic moment from the film, where he kills a young blonde woman by sticking her face in liquid nitrogen.
Yikes.
I don't know if y'all have seen this scene. The character, I believe her name is Adrian. Honestly, it doesn't matter what her name is.
She dies. Who cares?
Jason wakes up from the medical bed, grabs her, and it's in the science lab, grabs her head and sticks her in a vat of liquid nitrogen, and her face just freezes and shrivels up. And the reason why I have this at number 5 is because that death is wildly inventive for a movie that doesn't really deserve it. And the special effects are weirdly amazing. The seamlessness of that shot of her screaming in what is essentially, I guess, a pool of water, and how it transitions into what I guess is a dummy of a face that looks like it's frozen in liquid nitrogen is kind of effortless. And it just made me yearn for those days when slasher movies really took advantage of really elaborate practical effects. And this is still in the 2000s. You know, we're still in a bit of a transition when movies were trying to get bigger, get a bit more digital. And this one kind of holds things back a little bit with a very cleverly inventive death. And I just had to call that out.
Yeah. I have not seen this. Megan, I don't know if you've seen this movie at all.
I have not. I've only seen the first 3 Friday the 13th. So
apparently it's all that matter. Although I will say I have weirdly seen what's it called? Jason Lives. I think it's Friday the 13th 6, maybe. The one where they basically turn it into a comedy. And that one's pretty good.
Oh no. Oh, okay.
no.
I was like, oh no, that sounds terrible. But then you're like, it's good. So okay.
I like horror comedies when they become a bit more self-aware. That's a me thing. So I kind of appreciated that one. I don't know if it's the best of them, but I think it's, as far as sequels go, as you know, being that late in the franchise, that one's kind of fun.
Okay. All right. Moving on into a very different direction for my number 5. I'm going to the world of George Romero, Night of the Living Dead, and the death of Ben, the kill of Ben, if you will, at the end of that film. And of course, it's tragic. It's heartbreaking. Ben being the incredible hero of that movie. And when we see him at the end, after selflessly helping this group of white strangers survive, he's the last one standing in this house. We see the sheriff and his posse approaching, killing undead as they get to the farmhouse, and they see Ben through the window. And before confirming if he's alive or one of the undead, we hear the sheriff simply order the hit to shoot him right between the eyes. And in an instant, he is killed and is robbed of the humanity that he had been trying to protect throughout that entire movie.
Right.
And of course, there's a lot of thematic prowess to the film by showcasing the film in that way. It's emotionally enthralling as well. And to establish essentially the zombie genre in this way, it's just incredible. And I think that's why this kill will always linger as one of the best of all time, simply because of the thematic and emotional gravitas to it, as well as it working great dramatically and inventing a genre essentially.
Yeah.
It's a really great movie. I've always really loved it. And I think given the historical importance of this kill, it very much stands out to me, and it's why it's my number 5 here.
It's devastating.
Excellent
It's
pick.
devastating. Yeah. Iconic too. So much so that Eli Roth stole it for the ending of his movie Cabin Fever.
Yeah, exactly. Night of the Living Dead. Great movie.
It is great.
All right, Megan, what do you got at number 4?
Okay, so it's funny. I'm realizing that I sort of, in some ways, had a thematic thread too. And JD, listening to you talk about Night of the Living Dead, one of the reasons I think I didn't pick that is because it is such a devastating scene. And for some reason, even though I love a depressing, disturbing, devastating ending, I somehow think of that differently from Good Kills, so I think for me, I kind of went in a lot of these in the other direction, like ones
more from the killer's perspective.
Right. Yeah. Or from the survivor's perspective, as is the case with my number 4 pick, which, and this is a massive spoiler for this film, it is Coralie Fargeet's Revenge. And I love this film. I think it is
this too.
Oh, yay. It's like, I think it's stunning. I think it is visually striking. It is exhilarating. And it is a lean, mean film. It gets in and gets out. And I think that Matilda Lutz is great in this role. Yeah. And to see her go through the horror of rape and being murdered and left for dead, and then she literally rises like a phoenix to come back to enact revenge. And the final sequence where she is running through a house, a beautiful stark white mansion, and there's blood everywhere on the walls, on the floors, and her ex-boyfriend are slipping all over the blood, and then her murdering him is it's so cathartic. It is a release. Great scene. Yeah. It is a scene that has been burned on my brain ever since I saw it. It's great. I love it.
It's so hard to get revenge right in a movie, I think, because it's kind of a tired trope nowadays, which is why I respect movies like Revenge that just capture a certain catharsis, like you said, Megan, that just makes it feel new and invigorative all over again. Like certain movies nowadays are trying to tackle the revenge subgenre and do it in very interesting ways. And this is a great example of one that just makes you feel it in a certain way that just gives you this weird, grotesque satisfaction. I can't explain any other way other than that.
And when you title your film Revenge, you need to stick the landing. Otherwise, the entire thing falls apart.
You're not looking for nuance on the effects of vengeance and what that means for the human soul. It's not about that.
Right.
And I love the clever craftsmanship to that whole sequence as well as they're maneuvering throughout the house. There's that somewhat, I guess, popular shot of them up against the wall and the blood starts going off before they somewhat realize they're close to each other. It's really great stuff. And then of course it crystallizes impeccably as you're talking about. Great stuff. That's a good movie. I like it a lot as well.
I know. I love it.
All right, Brennan, what do you got? Number 4.
Number 4. So I knew with my number 4, or at least somewhere on my list, I needed to at least include something from the great John Carpenter, who has delivered many kills throughout his career. Many would say all started with 1978's Halloween, which is what I'm going with for my number 4. I almost went with something from The Thing, but I've talked about that movie quite a bit. That is my favorite John Carpenter film. But there's something about the opening kill in Halloween that just sticks with me, and that is Michael Myers as a young boy murdering his sister. And I think a lot of that comes down to the way it's shot. It's very inventive. The whole one-take sequence from the child's point of view, that's all great, and that's really effective. The thing that lingers with me the most and why I think this kill is so disturbing, it's when the mask is taken off by, I guess that's his father, if I'm not mistaken, and just the sheer look of dead nothingness in that young boy's face is absolutely frightening. Maybe even more frightening than the actual sequence as it plays out. And there's something about how that lingers and how that lingered with me personally, and why I knew when we thought of this topic, this is one that instantly came to mind for me. And it's for those reasons. It's for the technique of it and just the sheer calmness and almost apathy of it all is just downright disturbing. And I think it's one of the most disturbing kills in any slasher movie, let alone horror movie. So I think it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great. That's a great movie. Great pick. Very much an honorable mention for me as well. I thought heavily about Halloween, and you can't get a whole lot better than that sequence, establishing that character the way that film does. Yeah, it's a really great scene. I'm definitely there with you on that.
Yeah, John Carpenter, what a masterful filmmaker. Incredible.
Yeah. All right, for my number 4, I'm going to the year 1931. I'm going with James Whale's Frankenstein.
Yes.
We might have a crossover here, JD, depending on what scene you're going with.
Okay, I am going with again, spoilers. I know it's been almost 100 years. You never know. I'm going with the death of the little girl. Again, there's going to be a thematic parallel here throughout my 5 movies or my 5 picks here.
That's my number 3, the death of Maria.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is such a devastating moment in this film. And man, it's quite incredible to see the interaction between the monster and the little girl. And again, the parallels there, the sweet innocence of the both of them as they're playing this game, throwing these flowers into the water. And while, even when he grabs her, there's no thought of him doing anything harmful, obviously. Yeah. And that's the tragic irony of it. And it is heartbreaking. It is chilling. There's a ruthlessness to it. I do love that James Whale doesn't really hold back in showing us a moment like that with the little girl. And the emotional toll and the emotional impact of it, I just think is magical. It's still really, really great. Holds up gloriously well. And again, when I think about kills in movies, and when I was thinking about this list, I very much gravitated toward the kills that have some sort of thematic or emotional underbelly to them. And this moment in Frankenstein very much caught my eye. So it's my number 4 here. Yeah.
It's a very complex one. And I think that's why I had it on my list and why I was about to talk about it. But now we get to talk about it now is the ambiguity of what it all means. Like the monster himself, played by Boris Karloff, there is an intentionality to the kill, but the intention is not to kill, if that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah. He thinks he's just having innocent fun. He doesn't.
Yes.
The sad part of it, what I think is so heartbreaking, is the act before this act of killing is them throwing what are essentially gorgeous looking flowers into the pond. So he mistook this girl for what he thought was just a gorgeous little flower, essentially. And that's the sad part of it. And kudos to Boris Karloff and his performance, because that realization of I just did something wrong from a very innocent childlike mind, that is devastating. It is devastating.
It's incredible. That shot when the monster turns around, because the camera is from the back when he throws her into the water, and he turns around, and it's a little bit like that shot in the Bradley Cooper movie when A Star Is Born, when I forget the character's name, like he turns around in the truck and it's like, oh my God, I was not expecting that. It's a little bit of that, where he turns around and he just has that innocent devastation. on his face.
Yeah.
And yeah, the uncertainty of it, it's tragic. Incredible moment in that movie. For sure.
Also calling out Marilyn Harris, who plays Little Maria. Terrific in a very brief,
great.
adorable role.
For sure.
The fact that scene was cut and not in that film for such a long time is mind blowing, because I think it changes the entire tone and scope of the film and the monster as a character.
The complexity is born from that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It is a haunting scene. It's great.
Yeah. Good stuff. All right. So that is my number 4. Megan, we're back to you. What do you got at number 3?
Oh, number 3. So I thought about that scene, and it almost was my number 3 as well. But again, according to my parameters, it is not. But I'm so glad that you both have it. Again, coming from the angle of, I'm clearly going with for these two, a survivor element. I'm going with one of my favorite films, the slasher You're Next. And I'm specifically going with Erin, the protagonist, who little did the killers know that she was a survivalist since she was a child raised by her father to instill all of these survival skills. And so she sets traps all throughout the house to combat the killers. And the killers happen to be 2 of the family members, and there's a very particular kill scene. First, a fight in a kitchen, and then a great kill scene with a blender. And so I am going for the blender kill scene, where not only is the guy, Erin smashes him over the head with the blender, and then puts the blender on his head to scramble his brains. So yeah.
I got weirdly hungry the way you described that.
All
I'm
right.
gonna make myself a brain smoothie later today.
Ooh, yummy.
Remember when Adam Wingard was like one of these up and coming horror directors, and then he just wasn't anymore?
Yeah.
I know. I was like, why aren't you making more great films like You're Next? I don't know.
Even The Guest, what was that, 2013, 14 with Dan Stevens? That was actually pretty clever. And then he did his Blair Witch movie. I think he did Death Note. And then he got rolled up into the whole Godzilla Kong Monsterverse thing.
Mm.
Yeah. I miss the works of You're Next.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Doesn't he have a horror movie coming out this year or next year?
He has a movie.
I thought I saw that.
He has an action horror movie. It looks out called Onslaught.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Rebecca Hall, Dan Stevens.
I'm in.
Once again,
I'm seated. Oh, Dan Stevens. I'm seated.
That's all I need to hear. Yeah.
Rebecca Hall, Dan Stevens. I'm in.
Adria Arjona is also in it as well.
Okay.
Michael Biehn is in this. Okay.
What?
Interesting.
Okay.
Is this coming out this year? Because I think we have to revamp our most anticipated list, JD. Especially if this is a return. If this is a return to roots for him, then that's hopeful.
I don't know anything about it, but like all I knew is that he was doing what I thought was a horror film. I didn't know that it was an action horror movie, but I guess that makes sense given his recent output, as you just noted there. So, okay, but that's a stacked cast. I mean, I'm down. I would love to see him get back to his roots a little bit. That's fascinating. Okay. So Brendan, you already did your number 3. So we will circle back to my number 3. Again, continuing the trend, the thematic parallels here. Let's go with the car scene in Hereditary. That's my 3 here. So I feel like I saw a very different movie than a lot of other people did. I
know what you're about to say, and I think I agree with you.
Look, I don't love Hereditary like a lot of others do. I do like it. I think it's extremely well crafted. I do think it fails in terms of telling a cogent story. I think it's pretty great through the first 2/3. I think the last third, it tails off quite a bit. Even if it makes sense from a metaphorical or symbolic point of view, I can understand it, what it's trying to accomplish. I just don't think it sticks to landing and execution all that well. But I do think, dramatically speaking, it is quite riveting throughout the first 2/3 of that film. And it certainly crystallizes in this remarkable scene as we see a brother and a sister. Of course, Alex Wolff, the Peter character, he's trying to take his sister to the hospital. She's having some sort of allergic reaction. And I guess I don't really need to explain this. We all know what happens here. We all know what happens. But I think what's
no
great,
one saw it coming.
Nobody saw it coming. I certainly didn't. I did not anticipate that kill.
I will give Ari Aster this, as someone that, like you, JD, I'm not really in love with this movie either. In fact, it might actually be my least favorite Ari Aster film, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But I love the first half, maybe even first 2/3. But kudos to a director like this who finally got to make a horror movie and have his psycho moment. You know, like by shocking the audience by killing someone off so early you didn't even expect it. That's like a trick I don't know if anyone could ever get away with anymore, and somehow he did.
And I think this sequence works because of the storytelling, how he's building these characters and the payoff of it, and the aftermath, the dramatic tension that we ultimately see between Peter and Annie, which maybe we can get to here in a second. I don't think the ending gets to have its cake and eat it too in the same way. Like, for me, that's where the film, it becomes a little bit too ambitious for its own britches. But I do think this moment works great because of what it does for Peter. And ultimately, the movie devolves him as it goes. And again, going back to why I think I saw a different movie than a lot of other people, this movie to me is all about Alex Wolff. Toni Collette gets all of the discourse, and she's the one that is praised. She should have been nominated for an Oscar, all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
This is not Annie's movie. This is Peter's movie, 100%. In fact, Annie more or less disappears in the third act. It is all about Peter. And for me, I would go as far as to say, not only does Alex Wolff give the best performance of this movie, I think he should have won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor that year, or lead actor.
I think lead. Yeah, I mean, I kind of think Toni Collette's the supporting character in that way.
I agree. So however you want to label it, I think he's the one that should have won the Oscar. And that's not to disregard Toni Collette. She's really, really great. And honestly, to be perfectly honest, both performances, I think, work because of what the other is doing. Toni Collette's performance is very loud, very out in the open. And again, not trying to downplay it. That's what she's been asked to do here. I think what I really love about Alex Wolff, though, is that it's the kind of performance that I just tend to gravitate toward subjectively, in the sense that it is almost exclusively internalized.
Yeah.
It is very, very introspective. And especially this moment, there's a bit of panic that he expresses outwardly because his sister is dying in the back seat. And so he's trying to get to the hospital as fast as he can. But then the incident happens. And this is what I love about filmmaking, is when filmmakers just take these deep breaths. But what's fascinating about this moment is that you can hardly breathe because of what just happened. And we as the audience are just in shock as Peter is in this moment. And I love that the camera just lingers on him for what feels like forever.
Well, there's a brief moment where you shift to his perspective and he's about to look to his rearview mirror to see what had just happened. And then it quickly recoils, as any character probably would. It's like, no, I cannot see the aftermath. It's incredible. And again, the performance there, the way he's able to essentially convey
a billion different words without saying anything at all is incredible. It's easily some of, if not the best work Alex Wolff has ever done. It is quite incredible. And again, to convey that shock and horror in such a deep, visceral way, without having to be over the top or loud or bombastic. I really appreciate. And it very much stands out to me. Like for me, this movie is all about Alex Wolff, and I think
he's really good in it. Yeah.
Ari Aster himself is the only reason that holds this back for me. I think the cast is great, and there's a lot to appreciate with what it's attempting to do thematically. Aster just steps on his own toes.
It suffers from first film syndrome in a way.
Yeah.
I think. I think
agree.
it's overly ambitious, which I can respect about it. I think Midsommar is a tighter version of that.
Yeah, but that moment very much sticks out, though. Do really like it, and again, just the genuine earned shock of, I can't believe that just happened.
Yeah,
to a child character, incredible, and I think it's very, very effective. My number 3.
It earns its silence because it's so gross.
Yeah, it's horrifying.
Very. Megan, what do you think about Hereditary overall? Are you pro Hereditary?
I have a massive Ari Aster problem.
Fair. Okay.
Yeah, and I actually love Toni Collette in this. I think her performance is the strongest, but I totally hear what you're saying about everything regarding Alex Wolff, and it is the subtler performance. It is arguably the harder performance for that.
Yeah.
I think that so often it's interesting when we look at performances, because I think that for a lot of cases, men are praised for their bombastic, over the top performances, but when women are, they are, and I'm not saying you're doing this here. I'm thinking about how a lot of times women are criticized. Thinking about in Hamnet, like thinking about how people have criticized, like, oh, her performance is too over the top, and I'm like, that's
which I don't
ridiculous.
agree with
that is ridiculous. What are you even talking about?
Either.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that Toni Collette is really tapping into rage here in a really chilling way. So I love that. And I love that shocking scene. That beheading is, it is jarring.
Yeah.
It is horrifying. It's awful. I think the movie, as interesting as it is, it doesn't all come together. I think Midsommar also has problems, but it is, I do agree that it's tighter. But for me, it is the Ari Aster problem of it all. I'm not on his vibe wavelength.
I'm usually not either. I feel like I'm one of the few that actually did quite dig Eddington. But that was just, I guess that was a me thing, being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, I do not show any sort of gender bias when it comes to subtlety versus bombacity. I much prefer subtlety generally. I will say that a lot about male performances as well.
Yes, and I know you have. Yeah.
Yeah, very, and like, I get it. I mean, nothing against Toni Collette, and honestly, I think the reason that dinner sequence works so well is because of the duality between the two. That to me is ultimately why it works. And again, I understand that the way she's loud there, it certainly comes off in this big way that a lot of people tend to love. But I think maybe just what gets overlooked and overshadowed there, it's the way that Alex Wolff as Peter quietly undercuts her there. You don't see that in the clips that go viral on social media, but that's the reason she's going crazy. It's because of the way that he subtly and cleverly and slyly undercuts her that leads to those big moments. And I think there's equally a sharpness to that. That's equally as challenging performatively.
Yep, agreed.
And it's great. Yeah, the performances are just not the problem. I think everyone on the planet can agree.
Absolutely. They're not the issue.
All right. Brendan already gave his number 3. So number 2, Megan, what do you got at number 2?
So I might be cheating, but I have a slight tie because it's from the same film.
Okay.
I had to go with one of my favorite slashers. This is an incredible film. It's iconic. I love it. Wes Craven's Nightmare on Elm Street.
Heck yeah.
And yes,
I have something from this at my number 2 as well.
Oh,
so let's see if my pick is one of the 2 you're going with.
So the kill that has stood with me ever since I saw this as a child, probably way younger than I should have ever seen this, is Glenn and the bed of blood.
Okay.
And seeing the bed of blood and how shocking that was, that has stuck with me almost all my life. But what I think is arguably the better kill, so I guess if I had to choose, I'm going with this one, is Tina dying and Tina being killed, being sliced by Freddy Krueger while she's held up in the air by this invisible force, and her body is twisting and contorting, and the effects that both of those scenes are done in, the striking visuals that Wes Craven has, the fact that Wes Craven, who was already such a great filmmaker, but the slasher genre was dying. It was on its last leg in 1984, and he invigorated that subgenre with A Nightmare on Elm Street by using psychology, by using dreams, by using the paranormal, and just revitalizing it and doing some really new and innovative things with it. And I love A Nightmare on Elm Street so much, and I love both of those kills. I think they're both incredible.
Yeah, Tina's death is my number 2. And I think it comes down to a few reasons, a lot of them that you already articulated there very well. But like you, there were things about this movie I saw at way too young of an age when I should not have. I think I accidentally caught it on TV, and the thing I caught on TV at too young of an age was Tina's death. So it scarred me so badly. And I think why it works so well, especially if you're seeing the movie for the first time, it's the aura of mystery behind it. Like not knowing what's actually going on and what's even happening. Seeing this woman get torn to pieces, contorting on the ceiling like that, not really knowing how the physics of this even makes sense just yet. Wes Craven taps into that in a way where it could have seemed so outlandishly silly, and I don't think it ever is.
No.
Like, it's kind of gruesome, and even the dream sequence that leads up to it is wildly inventive as well. It's just like the not knowing of where this man, Freddy Krueger specifically, is. It actually adds a clever twist to how most chase scenes in horror movies don't really work all that well, because it all comes down to bad editing. But here, Wes Craven's able to get around that with some trickery, so that you never know what's around the corner, because Freddy Krueger can manipulate himself to be around every corner simultaneously. And he plays with that trope very well. So when it crystallizes and the physics start to make more sense, it is genuinely frightening. And it stayed with me because of all those reasons.
Absolutely. The other thing that I love about, I love the whole series, but especially the first film, is that it is terrifying that you are not even safe when you're sleeping. So, home invasion films are scary because you can't be safe in your home, but you can't even be safe while you're sleeping and dreaming. Like there is no rest. And, similar to Invasion of the Body Snatchers, you have to sleep. Like you can't escape it. And so I think there's so many incredible elements working in favor for this film, and I love it.
I love it.
I love it.
All right. Well, in the same way that I feel like we should do a live commentary of Pirates with Megan, we should do the inverse as she shows me some of these classic slasher movies.
Yes.
Because I just haven't seen a lot of them. Again, to reiterate, not only do I suffer from a medical condition called scaredy cat, but some of it also comes back to, again, my youth. And whenever I did attempt to watch some of these slasher movies from the 80s and early 90s, I mostly just found them hollow and empty. I don't know. I don't think that I would feel the same way today. That's just how they felt to me then. And I just have never really given them a chance, to be perfectly honest with you. So
Yeah.
there's a lot within this realm of horror that are, I just have to do the homework on.
I think
Yes.
if there's any slasher series that you should now finally give a go, it might be this one. I would have said Scream, but you've already seen the Scream films and you really like those.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would recommend every Nightmare on Elm Street film for you, but at the very least, I'd say the first one.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Third one's actually really cool. And
I love the third.
Yeah, and New Nightmare is also really cool. New Nightmare is basically Scream before Scream.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Very true. But that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's funny hearing you say that, JD, though, because so many people I feel who are not into slashers have a notion that they are hollow or that they are empty. And listen, there are a lot of them out there. And especially after the success of Halloween, so many were churned out in the 80s, and a lot of them are terrible, but there are gems. And the thing that's fascinating to me is that so many of these are dealing with psychology, they are dealing with social justice issues, they're really delving into classism, into PTSD, into issues of stalking. And so there is a lot there to dig into beyond just what's happening on screen too.
Sure.
So I just have a soft spot for them. I love them.
Well, and that's why watching them with you, I think, would be a great
Yay.
exercise.
I love it.
So
I
you
love
can
it. We
kinda
need to
walk
do
me
it.
through that. Yeah. Yeah, that would be great. Okay, really good stuff. For my number 2, continuing my thematic trend here, I'm going to the ending of The Fly, the Cronenberg film from 1986. And
Okay,
so
JD, you
good.
just took my number 1.
I kind of wondered. I kind of wondered, and I honestly didn't really think about it until this moment, because when I was crafting this list, again, I didn't really plan this until I started to see a trend formulating. And as this conversation was going and I was looking through my list, I did kind of wonder if there would be crossover here, because I know you love that film and love this moment as well.
The Fly's one of my all-time favorites.
It is a great movie,
So
and
good.
I don't know what to really say about this other than it's devastating. It's devastating as Ronnie puts him out of his misery, and to see the despair and the loss there in those final moments, it's just quite incredible. And again, just thinking about the kills that resonate with me the most when we're talking about horror movies. And again, like, I think there's a lot of valid points to what you're saying, Megan. And as a teenager, I think some of that thematic weight in those slasher movies didn't really hit me. And I just have never gone back to see them. And I just genuinely have to give them a shot. I have to do that at some point. And so the horror films that I have seen that have always resonated with me tend to come from this emotional place, because obviously, as we all know, I'm deeply emotional and wear my emotions on my sleeves. And The Fly is very much that.
Yeah.
And I love that this is a mercy killing. It is love. It is compassion. And the way Cronenberg arrives there, it's just impeccable. And it's such a great, devastating moment that I really like a lot. So it's my number 2 here.
I just love how David Cronenberg saw that original movie, The Fly, from 1958, I believe it was, which is actually a pretty effective horror movie for its time.
Yes. Yeah.
And basically took that and said, I'm going to turn this into a Shakespearean romantic tragedy.
Yeah.
Because I've as gross and horrific as this movie is, The Fly from 1986, I primarily see this as a tragic romance. I think that's why it's ultimately as effective as it is, and why there is such rewatchability for it for me. Because once you get over all the horror stuff, there's still a lot of drama underneath it all that is effective. I think Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis give Oscar caliber performances in this movie.
I agree.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, especially Gina Davis in those final minutes, that mercy killing, as you're talking about there, JD. I think flat out terrific. And the way that the camera just cuts with her on the knees in despair, and then the end credits start rolling, you get no reprieve from that. You get no a postscript to kind of alleviate some of that despair and tension.
Yeah.
It all comes down to great filmmaking as well to capture that sincerity and that realism. Howard Shore's score does it. The way that the animatronic fly itself gestures by pulling the shotgun to his head. You actually can sense that there's a human being still in there and something that's not even being played by a human anymore. That is very well done. And that's why it's my number one, is because of the effectiveness of the filmmaking and the performances that just make it so movie-like, but somehow turn something that shouldn't work that way into something that works this way.
Yeah, I agree. And circling back to something that you said earlier about practical filmmaking, I mean, what Cronenberg does here, and obviously he's very much known for this, but
it's magical.
The makeup work and the aesthetic work to give such great cogency to this film and the transformation that we see and Goldblum's humanity, how that it devolves over the course of the film, but very much lingers up into that last moment, which just adds such incredible gravitas to it. And Gina Davis, just not enough things can be said about her and what she conveys there in those final moments. It's heartbreaking. So good. Tragic romance. That's exactly what it is. 100%.
Yep.
It absolutely is.
Really good movie.
I think this is Cronenberg's best.
Yeah.
For me anyway.
I think so.
And he has a lot of great films, but I
know that's my only hesitation.
I know. There's so many.
Good
I know.
It's either no, it's this. I was thinking of maybe I'm thinking of my top 3 off the top of my head, because I also love Videodrome and I love Dead Ringers.
Yeah, they're both great too.
Those two with The Fly, those are my top 3. But no, The Fly is that's my favorite.
Yeah, I think so as well. Yeah, some really good movies there, though. But yeah, I think I'm there with you now that I'm looking at his list here. Good stuff. All right, number 1. Megan, what do you got at number 1?
Number 1, I had to go back to another one of my favorite films. And I had to go back to a film that is so iconic, so influential, an absolute masterpiece, perfectly acted, excellent atmosphere, and a shocking death that not only was shocking to audiences, but was shocking to the cast as well, because they did not know what they were in for. It's 1979 Alien, Ridley Scott, the chestburster scene. It is incredible. It is stunning. I know. He was just trying to eat some dinner.
Some more crossover, because this is my number 1 as well.
I love it. I'm so excited. Yeah.
I almost had it on my list too, but I've talked about the Alien franchise so much. I needed to give it a break.
Yeah.
I totally understand. I mean, and that's the thing. It's like, what else can be said? There's so, but there's so much, there is so much to say, and there is so much to unpack with Alien in regards to it's exploring themes of gender and assault and bodily autonomy and reproduction and agency and class and like so many things. But to have that dinner scene and they're all sitting there and they're all having this moment of camaraderie and levity after things have been so intense, and just to have that chestburster scene, which is incredible. And it is just unbelievable. I love it. I love it so much. And it's also funny because I just saw the Mexican slasher film Grave Robbers from 1989, which also takes the chestburster scene and does a kill in a really inventive way with a possessed hand coming through someone's stomach and like bursting out.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's great. It's so great. It's a very underrated film, but a great kill. But yeah, this is an impeccably made film. It's incredible. It's a fantastic scene. I love it so much. And I think what's great about this film is that there's so much done. Ridley Scott was doing so much with he was taking slasher tropes. He was taking haunted house tropes. He was infusing all of that with infectious, kind of epidemic elements too, with quarantine, and just made something incredible here.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I might have had this at number one just because of its iconic stature and the filmmaking that goes into it. Just incredibly innovative all around. But I do think it also fits the theme of my list in a lot of ways as well, especially when you consider the context that you talked about, Megan, and the cast having no clue what they're about to witness.
Yeah.
So a lot of the emotional reactions that we see there are completely genuine.
Yeah.
And it really does denote how devastated they were in that moment. A lot of confusion. They had no idea what was going on. Complete and utter fear and panic. But also they just lost one of their friends.
Yeah.
And they have no idea why or how or what's happening. So it's just this incredibly complex moment emotionally. And then also just the innovative craftsmanship at play there is just incredible. And it holds up gloriously. Just one of those iconic, great moments that you can't help but love in a movie like that.
I didn't have this on my list, but out of all the films we've talked about, Alien's my favorite film that we've referenced thus far. It's a top 10 film for me, in my top 10 of all time. And I always want to find a reason to watch it, primarily because the Alien franchise is probably my favorite sci-fi franchise as well. But I'm currently afraid to rewatch this movie in particular because I don't want my pregnant wife coming down to see this particular scene.
That would be.
I don't think that's a great mood setter.
Wait, has she not seen Alien?
No, she has not seen.
Okay. Well, afterwards, I think maybe
she's not much of a horror gal.
Okay.
And
maybe not.
And I get it. I don't think she'd find it particularly scary. I just think she's, third trimester. This is not the time to see a scene.
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
no, don't watch it now. No.
Yeah. Unless the baby's a little bit late and you got to scare that sucker out, then you watch a horror movie. That's
not a bad
exactly what Brandy and I did with Sam, because he was a little late. And we had to get him out. So we went to watch Crimson Peak. That's what we did.
Oh, that
Crimson
movie.
Peak. I love Crimson Peak.
I know.
Romance.
Me
I
too.
love that movie too.
Oh, so good.
At any rate, honorable mentions real fast. I know we're going a little long here, but honorable mentions. What do you guys got? Megan, you want to go first?
Go ahead, Megan. Go ahead.
I had so many, but I think The Burning, the slasher from 1981, the raft killing, if you know, you know.
Okay.
I think Ghost Ship, the wire cutting scene in the opening.
Oh man, I'm sorry to cut you off, Megan. I almost had that at my number 5, but
Me
again,
too.
it kind of went with that criteria that it's it's not as much of a kill as some of these others.
Right. No, I agree. That's why I didn't have it. I think, and similarly, I was thinking of like the opening of Jaws. I thought about the ending of Blair Witch Project, and which I think is really interesting. Seeing the, Heather is the one who is getting killed, and with the camera tipping over, it's like that's kind of an interesting way to allude to a killing, but it's not an actual killing on screen. I think Nope, the creature eating people is horrifying. So I thought about that. Suspiria, not the Argento Suspiria, but the Luca Guadagnino with Olga dancing to death.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Great moment.
There are a lot of great ones. Yeah. And then I have a million slasher ones from the 80s that are great too. So I had a lot of honorable mentions.
I have a lot as well, and I think there are a few obvious ones we have to call out here. One of them being Marion Crane from Psycho. We obviously have to highlight the shower scene there, iconic. Of course, there's the Scream franchise, which inspired this list in the first place. And the one I always go to is Casey Becker, played by Drew Barrymore.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it is the subversion. It basically creates the thesis of what this franchise is going to be about.
Right.
Because I'm sure a lot of people went into that movie thinking, oh, I want to see this new movie with Drew Barrymore. No, you're not going to.
Nope.
No, you won't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think what's great about that scene too, and especially you talking about the Marion Crane shower scene, like that's very much where, where Wes Craven got, clearly the blueprint for that. So the two working in tandem are great.
Absolutely. What else do I have here? From The Invisible Man, the 2020 film, the Emily Cass character, the sister, the restaurant scene.
Yes, with the
What a
knife.
shocker. What a shocker.
Oh.
I have the prom scene from Carrie. Carrie's another one of my favorite films.
Carrie's great.
The ending of Drag Me to Hell is an absolute buzzkill.
That's it.
Let's see. The pool scene from Let the Right One In.
Oh, yeah.
The head explosion from Scanners.
Yep. It's a great one.
If we're going to talk about the Saw franchise, which I'm overall not in love with, there is a particular trap in Saw 3, which I guess they call the rack. The man that's kind of at like a certain like almost Christ-like position and all of his limbs are being turned. That's the way I can describe that as the hip to be square scene from American Psycho.
Oh, American Psycho is great.
I love American Psycho. Yeah, I really did. Okay, I'll end here and then let JD do some more honorable mentions. But we just got done talking a little bit about Gore Verbinski, so let's highlight The Ring. The whole I saw her face scene. That's the scene that sticks with me.
Yeah,
that's a great one.
You guys pretty much nailed all of mine. I guess the other ones that I would throw in here, I heavily considered the defibrillator moment from The Thing. But I already knew the alien was going to be on here, and I don't know how many chest bursting sequences I needed to have on my list. So I left that off as an honorable mention. So I had that on here as well.
I guess we should do a top 5 chest burst scenes.
No, might have to. There's enough that qualifies, I guess.
Yeah, we already talked about 3.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's see here. The Georgie sequence in It was always a heartbreaker for me as well. The other one from Nope is when Gordy goes apeshit in the middle of that film. The ending to Us when we find out that Red is the real Adelaide, that's an incredible little moment there. That the way that she dies there at the end of that film and that twist that follows is incredible. And what else? Deep Blue Sea, as I noted earlier, great Samuel L. Jackson death in that.
First, we're gonna seal off this. Nope.
So good.
Now I need to watch Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah. And Chainsaw and Evil Dead. I don't think that we had noted that one quite yet.
Oh yeah, that's
Evil Dead's so good.
But all these other ones that you guys already listed that I have here, because I also had Psycho and Jaws and Carrie and all those, a bunch of the other ones that you guys already mentioned. So
there's a lot. There are a lot.
Yeah, there's a ton for sure. So those are our top 5 list. If you agree or disagree with our list, leave a comment below. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you can hit us up at InSession Film on the social medias. You can email us InSessionFilm@gmail.com. Megan, thanks so much for being here. Really do appreciate you.
Thanks so much for having me. I always love talking with you both.
Absolutely. You can also catch Megan on Women in Session. She's over there doing a lot of great work. A few days ago, the latest episode that went out, as I noted, you guys talked about your favorite live action Disney movies. That was a great time. And I love that you brought up some movies that I think a lot of people wouldn't consider as much. So it was fun. It was fun listening to some of those titles. Really great. But yeah, definitely go and check out that episode. We also have a review out that myself and Erica did. We talked about the latest Michael Mann. Sorry, it says Bart Layton here. Film Crime 101 is the name of that movie. But it was a really fun time. Michael Mann ripoff, perhaps, but really fun time. Definitely encourage people to go and check that out. New Chasing the Gold this week as well as Shadon and a couple of guests talk about the BAFTAs. There was a lot that happened at the BAFTAs that they break
There
down.
was. Yeah.
So you can be on the lookout for all of that. Dave and his posse of writers always doing great work over at the website InSessionFilm.com as well. I think that's it. Subscribe to the show. Like the video, all that fun stuff. Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
More gore.
No? More gore?
Yeah. Watch more
kills?
horror.
Yes, absolutely. That is on my list to do, thanks to Megan. She's giving me a
Yay.
ton of homework. So with all of that said, thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on the InSession Film Podcast.